freedom, won on the battlefield, and lost in Congress. Dan Halloran wants to talk about the Supreme Court. Now,
thank you very much. Thank you. Guys, listen, one of the most important things, and Tom alluded to it in his speech to you, is that the Constitution is the bedrock of our way of life. When our founding fathers framed that document, they didn't say in the cultural times we live in. They didn't say for 15 years. They didn't say that this document should be interpreted by other people in other times to mean anything other than what was written on that sacred parchment in the year 1781. That document speaks from the beginning of our rights, not government's rights, our rights. And it enumerates specific and limited powers. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for a common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity, therefore do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. That document does not say that the government of the United States gives you these rights. It does not say that the states of the Union give you these rights. It tells you that these rights are inalienable, are self-evident, and are yours by virtue of having been born. And no government can take them away from you. The very fact that our government, through its Supreme Court, has decided to tell you what rights you have is an anathema to the framers' intention. The Bill of Rights has a preamble. It is ignored in almost every written copy of the Constitution. The preamble sets forth the very basis for the Bill of Rights. And it's this, that the government was at that time and at every time a dangerous instrument. Governments absorb power. The tyranny that they escaped in England from was present here in the United States, because any time you cede authority to a government, it takes that authority and runs with it. So in the preamble to the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, our framers thought about the fact that later generations mightn't be so savvy, mightn't think about how hard the victory was to win to gain freedom. So they put in that preamble the basis of our Bill of Rights, that these rights are being enumerated to protect and preserve them, not because they're granted by this document, but because they exist in us inherently. The fact that today our Supreme Court throws that language out and focuses on the letter of the law and what rights are specifically enumerated unto us, despite the fact that in the 10th Amendment it tells us all powers not specifically delegated herein are reserved unto the states and the people, respectively. The people, not the government. But our Supreme Court doesn't care about that. It has used the Takings Clause to its advantage. It has used wonderful, wonderful things like eminent domain, an abuse of the government's authority, no longer to take for a public good, but in the Kelo case up in Connecticut, to take for private development. Private development, because tax revenue is in the public interest. My gods, we had a revolution over a 2% T-tax. But now, the taxation through sales of a public mall is going to be considered a public good. We have the Second Amendment, which has been whittled away. Why? Because the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed is somehow ambiguous. Could someone tell me where the ambiguity lies in that? The right of the people, us, the people, to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. Where is there a question in that statement? In the Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons and effects. Under the Patriot Act, the government has the right to wiretap your phones domestically, in violation of the Fourth Amendment, because the Supreme Court says that secret courts are okay, even though the Constitution expressly prohibits them. When the government is willing to take that line in the sand and step across it, the citizens have an obligation to take the government back. And that's what you're doing here. Amen. Have no doubt about it that our Supreme Court this year had a terrible, terrible disservice done to it with the appointment of Sonia Sotomayor. Right. In her speeches before law students, she told them that the courts set policy. The courts set policy. The last thing your framers ever wanted was for a court to set policy. The will of the people, as governed by the Constitution, is the sole method for setting policy in the United States of America, and has to be the sole basis for setting policy, or we are a dictatorship of the politically correct. It's no longer appropriate for you to get up and say, I disagree with the president, because if you do, you're a racist. It is inappropriate for you to criticize the public option because you're against poor people. Never mind the fact there will not be a single doctor who can afford to go to medical school in this country if the public option becomes the option, because they will be saddled with a $400,000 school debt they can't repay. Why would any sane person want to make that commitment? To be straddled with debt to here and an income down here? It makes no sense. Why would anyone in this country sacrifice the technological gains that we've gotten through the medical industry to have a public option, which is what will happen? Are the innovations in world medicine coming from England? Are they coming from Denmark? Are they coming from France? Nope. No, they come from the United States. And why is that? Because here the free market system provides those opportunities. Is the system perfect? No. Should there be a destruction of the monopoly of healthcare service? I agree. Healthcare policy should be able to migrate across state borders. That's called the free market. Why is it baseball and healthcare are the only two industries protected from antitrust regulation? Well, baseball I can understand. I'm a Yankee fan. But I can't understand why healthcare is. These issues, as they percolate up to the Supreme Court, as they follow their way through our state courts, need to be challenged not by lawyers in suits, not by judges on benches, but by citizens in their communities who come together and say, this is my house, this is my country, and no, you won't do this to my community. High to low, you need to get out and you need to tell 5 friends and 5 relatives that getting out the vote is important, helping local candidates is important, helping spread the word to just say no is important. We're a nation founded on the notions of religious liberty. Amen. We're a nation founded on the notions of an individual's right to self-determination. Don't let the government tell you you don't own yourself. Don't let the government tell you you don't have the right to decide. And don't let your elected officials continue to spend your money on programs that never worked, never will, and ultimately come back to bite us in the ass every year after year, mounting a debt your children's children will never be able to pay, and then tell you it's sunshine and roses, because it's not. You have to get out and take it all back, because it's our nation, one nation, under God and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.